And we're going to move on to our final piece of the exercise, and that's looking at the reference integrator and what effect that has on a closed loop system. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is we need to set our voltage reference to maximum, and then we can select our run and switch that off. Excuse me. So what we're going to see now is what happens when we adjust our voltage reference integrator. So I'm going to move this voltage reference up slightly. And the reason I'm doing that is as per the notes on your exercise. So this machine, I know when it's set to minimum, it's going to trip these fuses. By slightly twisting it 1/8, it will avoid doing that. So as I do this, just take note of what happens with the speed. So I'm going to switch it on now. And you can see our speed increased pretty rapidly. So now what I'm going to do is, at about step 22, is I'm going to select the run off again, and I'm going to adjust this to halfway, sorry, to maximum. And now I'm going to turn this on, but again, please look at the speed as I do this. So switching on now, you notice nothing much. And then very slowly, it ramps up the speed. So I turn that off, and I set that to halfway. We can start to imagine what's going to happen. When it's a minimum, it does it very quickly. When it's at maximum, it's very slow. So halfway, in between. If I change that to about 3/8, switch on. And now you can start to begin to understand what's happening with the voltage integrator. So you can go ahead and now you can answer questions 21 through to 25. Once we've finished with the the reference integrator, we're going to start looking at the current limiter. So what we're going to do is we're going to select our run selector to on with our reference integrator set to maximum and our current limit potentiometer set to minimum. So I've set that to max, the current to minimum, and I'm going to select the run on. So you can see, as you'd expect, it has slowly ramped up and now it's stabilized. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and increase the brake by 0.1 Newton meter up to 1 Newton meter and see what happens. So if I now try increasing this, sorry before I do, just going to clear that table off. If I now increase the torque, I've got that set to 0.1 on the machine, but you'll notice the speed's rapidly dropping off as well as the torque. So I can't even get up to 0.1 Newton meter with this current setting. To overcome that, what I can do is I can increase that current limit potentiometer. And then what that's going to do is it's going to allow the motor to draw more current than what it was currently allowed to draw. And you can see now the motor's picking back up its speed and it's reaching that 1 Newton meter of torque. For the purpose of the graph here though, you need to keep in mind when I set that to minimum, I wasn't able to take a data table for that, so therefore I'm not going to do one during this exercise. But I'm just going to demonstrate now by playing around with it a little bit more what that current limit potentiometer does. So I've got this set a little bit off. I'm going to increase that brake. And you can see when I reached about 0.6 Newton meters, the motor again started to slow down and fail. And that's because, again, it's trying to draw more current than what it requires to run. And this thyristor speed controller has limited that. But if I increase the limit, again, that speed will pick back up because the motor is now allowed to draw that current that it requires to operate. Cool. So with that in mind, that concludes the 66-B. please use the data that I provided in the shared drive. And if you have any questions, again, ask either myself or your lecturer. Thank you very much.